Shaolin monks spent 90 minutes a day on something that looked, from the outside, like standing still. No kicks, no forms, no weapons, just standing. And yet their masters called it the foundation of everything: strength, longevity, mental clarity. For decades, Western researchers dismissed it as superstition or cultural ritual. Then, neuroscientists at the University of Zurich started measuring what actually happens inside the nervous system during this practice. What they found changed how researchers understand the spine entirely. Tonight, you're going to learn what they discovered, and a protocol you can begin in the next 60 seconds. Your spine isn't a support column. That's the story modern anatomy taught us. A stack of bones keeping you upright. But it isn't that. It's a signal highway. 31 pairs of spinal nerves branch outward from your vertebral column, reaching into every organ, every limb, every system in your body. Your spine doesn't just hold you up. It communicates. It regulates. It resets. For tens of thousands of years, human movement kept that highway clear. We squatted, twisted, hung, loaded, and decompressed the spine dozens of times each day. The discs stayed hydrated. The nerves stayed mobile. The fascia, that connective web wrapping every structure in your body, stayed supple and responsive. But three things happened in the last century that shut the signal down: chairs, screens, and stillness. Not the good kind of stillness, the collapsed kind. We rounded forward, compressed downward, and held that shape for 8, 10, 12 hours a day. The discs began to dry. The nerves began to drag. The fascia hardened like cooling wax around a frozen structure. Shaolin practitioners didn't have this problem, not because life was easier for them, but because their daily practice was specifically designed to restore what compression takes away. No, T as ritual, not as religion, as maintenance. Modern neuroscience calls it spinal decompression and proprioceptive recalibration. The Shaolin called it returning to the root. Same mechanism, different language. The Shaolin called it Zhuang, translated loosely as standing like a post, though that translation misses almost everything important about it. The original texts from the Shaolin Wuyi Institute, dating back to the 13th century, describe the practice not as passive stillness, but as active listening. The practitioner was taught to feel the spine lengthen on the inhale, to sense each vertebra as a separate, breathing entity, and to hold a precise structural alignment that created, in their words, a column of living light from earth to heaven. What they were describing in their language was the nervous system in a state of regulated, alert calm. Here's what happens inside your body when you enter this state. Your intervertebral discs, the gel-filled cushions between each vertebra, are avascular. They have no direct blood supply. They receive nutrition through a process called imbibition, a rhythmic compression and decompression that pumps fluid in and out like a sponge. When you sit collapsed for hours, that pumping stops. The discs starve. They thin. They become brittle. The spine reset practice restores the pump. As you elongate the spine and hold an aligned, gently loaded position, the discs re-engage their natural imbibition cycle. Fluid returns. Disc height gradually increases. Nerve roots, previously compressed, gain space. Simultaneously, the deep spinal muscles, the multifidus, the longissimus, the rotatoris, begin firing in a coordinated, low-level pattern they've likely forgotten how to do. These aren't the muscles you feel at the gym. They're the quiet stabilizers, and when they switch on, they send proprioceptive signals, positional feedback, racing up the spinal cord to the brain's sensory cortex. Modern research confirms this. A 2019 study from the University of Queensland found that targeted deep spinal muscle activation was associated with a 34% reduction in perceived lower back pain over 8 weeks in participants with chronic lumbar dysfunction. More significantly, researchers noted changes in cortisol markers, suggesting the practice wasn't just mechanical, it was neurological. A second study, published in Frontiers in Human Neuroscience in 2021, found that slow, elongated standing postures with breath synchronization activated the parasympathetic nervous system within 90 seconds, shifting participants out of low-grade sympathetic arousal, what most people now live in permanently, toward a measurable state of calm alertness. You can feel this immediately. When the deep spinal muscles wake up, there's a subtle warmth that moves upward along the spine. Not heat exactly, but aliveness. Your breathing deepens without effort. Your jaw softens. Athletes call this state the zone. Your nervous system just calls it home. This is the spine reset, a modern adaptation of the Shaolin standing practice distilled into 3 tiers anyone can begin tonight. Find a quiet space. Stand with your feet hid. P-width apart on a flat surface. Turn off notifications. You'll need 3 to 20 minutes, depending on your level. Come into this with no goal except awareness. Beginner version. Stand with your feet parallel, hip-width apart. Soften your knees, not bent, just unlocked. Stack your hips gently over your ankles, your ribcage over your hips, your skull over your ribcage. Tuck your chin slightly, as if holding a small orange under your jaw. Let your arms hang at your sides, palms facing backward. Now breathe. Inhale for 4 counts. Feel the spine gently lengthen upward. Exhale for 6 counts. Feel your weight drop into your feet. Hold this for 3 minutes. Key focus. The imaginary thread at the crown of your skull pulling you gently toward the ceiling. Common mistake. Gripping your glutes or bracing your core. Let everything soften except your length. Intermediate version. From the same position, raise your arms to shoulder height as if holding a large ball at chest level. Bend your elbows slightly. This holding the ball posture loads the shoulders and spine simultaneously, activating the deep stabilizers more intensely. Hold for 5 to 7 minutes with the same breath pattern. Notice the progressive warmth moving from your lumbar spine upward. Advanced version. Enter the full Zhuang horse stance position. Feet wider than hips, knees tracking over toes, hips lowered to parallel or near parallel, arms in the holding position. Hold for 10 to 20 minutes with 4-count inhale and 8-count exhale. Mastery marker. When you can complete 20 minutes without the breath pattern breaking, you've restored what the masters called the living column. Beginners, practice 3 minutes daily for the first week. Maintenance, 5 to 7 minutes 3 times weekly. Mastery path, daily practice building by 1 minute per week. First session. Subtle warmth in the lower back, a noticeable drop in shoulder tension. After 3 days, the posture becomes easier to find. Your body starts remembering. After 7 days, you'll notice you're breathing differently at your desk. After 30 days, people may ask if something changed. They'll see it before they can name it. If you experience sharp pain, numbness, or radiating sensations down the arms or legs, stop and consult a physician. Those with disc herniation or spinal stenosis should practice the beginner version only and check with their healthcare provider before advancing. This isn't posture work, and it isn't back pain management. What it actually is, what the Shaolin understood, and what neuroscience is now beginning to measure, is a nervous system dialogue. Every time you enter this practice, you are speaking directly to your body's regulatory intelligence through the oldest language it knows, structure and breath. Modern medicine tells you the spine is a mechanical problem, something to be adjusted, injected, or fused when it fails. The Shaolin knew it was a living system, responsive to attention, restored by stillness, and capable of recalibrating the entire body when given the right signal. Your spine isn't broken, it's waiting. For centuries before chairs existed, humans spent time in these positions: natu, rally, resting and squat, holding tools and stance, moving between positions that maintained what no physiotherapist needs to explain to a body that remembers. We didn't need spine resets because we never left the alignment in the first place. You just learned what Shaolin initiates spent years earning access to, not as a party trick, not as a fitness hack, as a way of staying legible to your own nervous system. The reset isn't the goal. The reset is the side effect. The goal is a spine that moves information without interference, a body that knows where it is in space, that regulates stress without accumulating it, that ages through use rather than through disuse. Tonight, stand still for 3 minutes. Tomorrow, notice how your back feels when you sit down. In 7 days, notice what happens to your mind when you practice before a hard conversation. And if this reached you at exactly the right moment, You know what to do. As always, keep moving. Talk soon.